Testing, 1, 2, testing. All right, so before we start chapter 4, I want to do a little prerequisite skills, that we need for this chapter. So let's get started. First thing, we're going to refresh our memories on domain and range. Remember, domain is the set of x values, and the range is basically your set of y values. Okay, so right away when we do this, okay, we might have to learn how to do it using inequalities. So we're going to do interval notation, and then we're going to do it as a inequality. So the first one, if I look at this graph, right, it is this line here. If I look at this line, it starts on the way left. So when we talk about the domain, if it goes to the left forever and ever, where are we starting on the left? We're starting at negative infinity. That's a round bracket. And as we travel and look at it, where does it end on the right? It ends at an x value of 2. Okay, my range, remember, range, we always go bottom to top. So where does this start on the bottom? It starts, and we're going to go square bracket. Oh, sorry, this should be a square bracket. Square bracket, -2. And if it goes up forever and ever and ever and ever, it goes to infinity. Now, how do we write these as inequalities? This is interval notation. As an inequality, for this first one, we're going to say all my x values, since they go to the left forever and ever, starts at 2, goes to the left, we're going to say is less than or equal to 2. Now all my y values start at -2 and go up, so all my y values are greater than or equal to, what's the lowest y value? -2. All right. Now my next one, my domain. I start here on the left and it goes to the right forever and ever. So we're going to say my first x value is 0 and goes to infinity. In my range, anytime we go down forever and ever and up forever and ever, we say we go from negative infinity on the bottom to positive infinity. Now my inequality for the domain. All my x values here start at 0 and go to the right, so they're greater than or equal to 0. And all my y values, right, basically every y value on this graph is covered. Therefore, we would say all real numbers. All right. Now the last one here is a circle. And from left to right, we start at -2. So square bracket, -2. We end at 2, right? And then my range, the bottom starts at 1 and continues up to 5. So right there, that's interval notation. Now how do I write the inequality? Well, these are going to be compound inequalities, meaning I'm going to be greater than or equal to the smallest number, then less than or equal to the biggest number. So remember, the alligator must always eat kind of like the bigger number. So x is greater than or equal to the smallest x value on the graph is -2, and the largest y or x value is 2. So the inequality for that domain would be from -2 to 2. For the range, all my y values are greater than or equal to, since we're above 1, it's greater than or equal to 1, less than or equal to 5. Okay, so this is a review of domain and range. Now, linear functions, right? We have 2 forms that we like to use a lot. One is slope-intercept form, where we have y equals mx plus b. Now, in this form, m represents the slope or the rate of change. B is the y-intercept. Now, point slope form is y equals m times x minus x1 plus y1. where right away m, again, m is the slope, and then a given point would be x1, y1. So this would be your given point and your slope. Now we think, right, when we do this, we think the opposite of x1, comma, y1. Okay? So the first step we do, right, is we always find the slope. And then we write it in point slope form. Once we do that, we can write it in, what would that be, slope intercept form. Okay, so this is a review of things you did last year. So the first example, write an equation of a line that has a slope of -4. So right away, my slope is -4, and pass this through this point, -3, 6. So now, if I look at this to write this equation, all I'm going to do is say y equals, m is -4, so it's -4 times x minus, what's the x coordinate here? -3 plus, what is my y coordinate? 6. Now I do want to freshen this up by saying bling bling here, anytime I subtract a negative. So y equals -4 times x plus 3 plus 6. And this would be the equation of the line. Now, this is point slope form. Slope intercept form. First thing I'm going to do is distribute the -4 to get -4x. Then -4 times 3 is -12 plus 6. If I combine these like terms, slope intercept form would be -4x minus 6. And that's because -12 plus 6 is -6. Okay, next one. We take a look at it. We're given these 2 points. So my first step here, right, is to find the slope. And remember, we basically subtract the y's over subtract the x's. So if I do y, so it would be 19 minus -1 over, if I start with 19 with the x or y's, I must start with the same order pair for my x's. So it must be -6 minus -1. Now right away, if I bling bling here, that becomes 20 over bling bling here. -6 plus 1 is -5. So my slope is -4. Now right now, if I go to write this equation, I can use either one of these points. It doesn't matter. So I'll start here. Point slope form for this one would be y equals -4 times x minus x sub 1 would be -1. And since my y coordinate is -1, we would go -1 on the outside. Now I would bling bling this to get -4 times x plus 1 minus 1. This is point slope form. Now another answer for point slope form would be y equals -4 times x minus -6, bling bling it, plus 19. Both of these would be answers for point slope form. Now for slope intercept form, what I'm going to do is pick one of these to solve for y. So y equals -4 times x is -4x. -4 times 1 is -4, then -1. And right away here, -4x, -4 minus 1 is -5. And that would be slope intercept form. Okay, now the next one here, if I go to write this equation, first I'm going to find the slope again. So I'm going to say 8y minus y, so 8 minus 12 over, since I started here with the y's, I start there with the x, so 0 minus 6, and this would give me, right away, it's going to give me negative 4 over negative 6, which simplifies to a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and 4 and 6 can both be divided by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So the slope of this line is 2/3. So now, right away when I go to write point slope form, I'm going to go y equals 2/3 times x. I'm going to use minus 12. If I use this ordered pair, it'd be minus 6, right? Plus 12. Now, if I go to write slope-intercept form, what's really nice here is I'm given the y-intercept. So all I'm going to say is y equals 2/3 x. Remember, this is 0, comma b, so plus 8. Here's your slope-intercept. Here's your point slope. Okay? Now the next one. Anytime I go to graph these or write the equation of these lines, okay, first thing I'm going to do is find the slope of this line. So I'm going to count my rise over the run. So my slope is, I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so negative 5 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So negative 5 over 8. So now, can I see where this crosses the y-axis? Yes. Or I can pick a point here, say 3, 1. So if I go to write the equation of the line, y equals negative 5/8 times x minus 3, all plus 1. That would be point slope form. Okay, now you can't really tell if that y-intercept is exactly right or not. So you really can't go to and write the point slope form or slope intercept form of that. Now, next one, equation of a vertical line. Remember, vertical lines are in the form x equals a number. So in this case, x equals, what's my repeating x value here? That would be negative 3. And that would be the equation of the vertical line. Now, anytime you have a horizontal line, right, it's always y equals a number. So in this case, what would the equation of this line be? Y equals, what's my repeating y value here? And it is 4, and there's our equation. All right. Now, graphing lines. Anytime you're given, slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, right? You have to find the slope, and that's your rise over the run. And then b is your y-intercept. So when I look at this first example here, first thing I'm going to do is find my y-intercept, 0, 7. And I'm going to go ahead and plot that. Now my slope, if my slope is positive, I go up the number of units in the numerator and right the number of units in the denominator. If my slope is negative, I'm going to go down and then right. So in this case, since my slope is negative 3/5, I'm going to go down 3 and right 5. So down 3, right 5, and now I can graph my line. Now for the next one, right, first thing I'm going to do is find my slope, which is 3, meaning 3 over 1. So I'm going to go up 3, right 1. Then from here, I can gather an ordered pair. One of the points on this line, the opposite of negative 4 is 4, then -6. So I'm going to plot my ordered pair, 4, -6. Then right away my slope tells me to go up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1, and now I can graph that line. The next one, my slope is 4/3. So that tells me I'm going to go up 4, right 3, and then my ordered pair, the point I'm going to start with is the opposite of 1 is -1, +2. So I'm going to plot -1, 2. Then my slope tells me to go up from there, up 1, 2, 3, 4, over 1, 2, 3. And now I can graph my line. All right. Now right here, if I have one variable and it's x equals a number, I know that it's a vertical line. So I go to 2 on the x-axis and draw my vertical line through there. Y equals a number, right? That's a horizontal line. And I'm going to basically go to -5 on the y-axis and draw my horizontal line. Okay, all of this is a review of what you did last year. So do me a favor, try your best on the homework and enjoy the holiday.